Hello, my beautiful angels. This message, it's not going to show up in your life by accident. Nope. This will find you when you're at that weird, quiet, in-between moment. You know the one I'm talking about? When everything around you looks kind of the same, but inside, something feels off. It's like you're sitting in a room that used to feel like home, and now it just feels like four walls and a bunch of noise you can't unhear. You're standing at a checkpoint, at a threshold, a strange place where one version of your life ends and something else is trying to begin. But the craziest part, you don't even fully know what that something else is yet. Hey, before we get deeper into this, if this message is already resonating, even a little, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps me keep putting these out for people like us. And if you haven't already, tap that subscribe button too, yeah? So you don't miss the next time the universe wants to drop something on your soul like this. All right, let's get back into it. Because here's the thing. You're not just imagining a new life for no reason. You're not going crazy. You're waking up. And it's a weird kind of waking up. It's not the peaceful birds chirping, stretch your arms kind of morning. It's more like when you open your eyes at 3 a.m., heart pounding, and realize the dream you just had wasn't a dream, it was a message. It was your subconscious screaming at you. Lately, you've been seeing things a little clearer, right? It's like certain people who you used to make excuses for, you just can't ignore it anymore. The way they talk, the way they drain you, the way they don't clap for you unless you're losing. And maybe, just maybe, you've started noticing how out of place you feel around certain crowds now. I had this moment the other day. I was just at this random dinner thing, bunch of people I used to vibe with. And while everyone was talking, laughing, gossiping, drinking, I was just there, staring at my food like, how did I end up back here? It was like watching a movie I'd already seen 5 times. The plot was tired. I wasn't entertained. I didn't belong. And that's when I realized it wasn't them who changed. It was me. You're having your own versions of that lately, aren't you? Conversations that used to feel normal now sound empty. Jokes that used to be funny now feel cruel. Situations that once gave you comfort now feel like cages. It's like the veil's been ripped off, slowly but surely. And you didn't even realize it was a veil until it was gone. You're seeing your life for what it is. And yeah, that truth is uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. Because now you know you can't go back. Even if you tried, it would never feel the same again. And deep down, you know that, you're not meant to stay stuck in the same patterns. You know this life you're fantasizing about lately. The escape, the peace, the quiet, the feeling of being you. Without all the noise, that's not some silly little daydream. It's your inner self remembering what freedom feels like. It's your soul knocking on the door like, hey, can we go now? You're starting to crave new spaces, new energy, something real, something soft but solid. You want to be surrounded by people who see you, who don't make you shrink, who don't mistake your silence for weakness or your kindness for naivety. And no, that doesn't mean you hate your past. It doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It just means you're evolving. And evolution always makes noise before it settles. You're not broken. You're not lost. You're just not numb anymore. You're waking up to your truth. And more than that, you're ready to live in it. Even if that means starting over, even if that means leaving some things and some people behind, even if that means facing the unknown with shaky hands and a brave heart. Because the truth, staying where you no longer fit hurts more than the risk of leaving. And you're starting to feel that now, aren't you? Like even the things that once felt safe are starting to itch. Like your spirit is pushing against the walls you once built to protect yourself. Like the life you've been living just isn't matching the life that's pulling you forward. And yeah, it's scary. But it's also exciting because the version of you that's rising right now, they're not afraid of change anymore. You've crossed the line. Not a loud one, not dramatic. There wasn't some big explosion or final fight. But something inside you clicked. You're no longer just thinking about changing your life. You're actually deciding. And that's a powerful shift most people never make. It's like the difference between sitting in your room, imagining what it would be like to pack up and leave, and actually standing at your door with the keys in your hand. You feel that, right? Like now is the time. You're looking in the mirror lately and realizing this is it. This version of you that's been blending in, pleasing people, biting your tongue, laughing when things aren't funny. Yeah, that version is done. You're face to face with yourself. No filter, no mask, no pretending to be okay when you're not. And the weird thing is, some of those masks, you didn't even realize you were wearing them until they fell off. But now that they're gone, you can't go back. You can't fake it anymore. And honestly, that's both terrifying and freeing. Like I was literally just walking past this cafe I used to love going to. It's this little spot tucked between 2 buildings downtown. Nothing fancy, but I'd go there when I was stressed or when I wanted to feel something familiar. But today, I stood outside it and felt nothing. Like nothing. It hit me. I've outgrown even the places that once felt like comfort. That's what this moment feels like. It's not just people you're seeing differently, it's everything. The conversations you used to tolerate now feel draining. The places you used to love now feel hollow. The relationships you kept just to keep the peace are now costing you your peace. And what's wild is, for a long time you convinced yourself that you could make it work, that maybe you were the problem, that if you just tried harder, smiled more, lowered your needs a bit, things would feel right again. But now you're starting to realize that you were just trying to survive in a place you were never meant to stay in. There's something shifting inside you, like tectonic plates. And when that happens, the environment around you starts shaking too. Some of you, I feel it heavy, you're about to move. Not just metaphorically, like a full-blown relocation, new city, new space, new energy. Maybe your lease is up. Maybe something in your home just doesn't feel like home anymore. Maybe the silence in your current space is just too loud now. It's not random. This season is trying to make space for what's coming. And the truth is, you've outgrown where you are. You've outgrown the conversations where you have to dumb yourself down. You've outgrown the relationships where your loyalty is expected but never returned. You've outgrown being the strong one who never gets checked on. You've outgrown pretending to be okay just to avoid confrontation. It's like your soul is saying, enough. I see you standing at this invisible edge, not a literal cliff, but it feels like one. You're looking out at your life, scanning the horizon, asking the question that's been echoing in your chest for months. Do I really want to keep settling? Settling for half connections, settling for good enough, settling for the job, the city, the version of yourself that makes everyone else comfortable but leaves you empty. You know what's even scarier than jumping? Staying. Staying in a life that doesn't move you anymore. Staying in rooms where your voice is too big or too soft or too honest. Staying in cycles that only keep repeating because you're afraid of what comes after the end. But that fear, that's not a stop sign. It's a sign that you're close. Because the truth is, the version of you that's on the other side of all this, they're already waiting. They've already started making space. You're not imagining things. You're not being dramatic. You're just done. And that's okay. You don't need permission to leave what no longer fits. You don't need a perfect plan to begin again. You just need the courage to stop apologizing for wanting more. And I think you're starting to find that one quiet decision at a time. You're starting to see it now, aren't you? Not just feel it, but know it. That little tug in your gut when you wake up in the morning. That restless energy that won't leave you alone anymore. You might not have the words for it yet, but it's there. This quiet truth has been rising to the surface. You might be settling. And hey, that's not an insult. It's not me saying you're doing life wrong. And it's just you're beginning to notice where you've made yourself comfortable instead of free. There's a difference. The thing is, you're not out here wasting your life. Not even close. You've been showing up. You've been creating. You've been giving love, making memories, building something out of what you had. That's powerful. That's beautiful. You're the kind of person who turns chaos into calm. You walk into a space and soften it. You've built homes where others saw rubble. You've made people feel loved even when your own heart was breaking. You've made gardens bloom in places where nothing should have grown. But now there's this pause, this whisper, this question you can't unhear anymore. Is this the best I can do, or just the best I've known so far? Because you have made beauty where you are, you've worked with what you had, and no one can take that away from you. But what if there's more? What if the life you've created isn't the final destination, but just the launch pad? It's like holding on to an old coat that kept you warm for years, but now it's too tight. You've outgrown it. And you're standing there wondering if it's okay to take it off, even if it once saved you. That's where you're at, caught between gratitude and growth, between what's worked and what's waiting. And that's not an easy place to be. Trust me, I know. I was walking past this bookstore I used to go to last week, back when I was first figuring myself out. I'd spent hours there, reading things that made me feel alive again. But now, when I walked in, I didn't even feel that spark. It was weird, sad almost, like saying goodbye to a version of me that needed that place, but doesn't anymore. And maybe that's what you're doing too. Saying goodbye to versions of yourself that got you through tough seasons, but aren't meant to go with you into what's next. You've done the inner work, you've grown, even when no one clapped for you. You've stayed kind in rooms that didn't deserve your softness. You've poured into people who never once poured back. And now it's time to ask, what would happen if I stopped holding back? If I really let myself go there? Go after the big dream. Leave the comfort zone. Let go of that old narrative that says, be grateful for what you have, even when it's keeping you small. Gratitude and ambition can live in the same body. You can appreciate what you've built and still want something bigger. That's not greed, that's growth. And I get it. Leaving behind something that once felt like everything, that's terrifying, especially when you can't see the whole picture yet. But here's what I've learned. Clarity doesn't always show up first. Sometimes you move, and then the vision gets clearer. Sometimes you have to let go before you get the proof that it was the right move. I know it's hard, letting go of a home, a person, a mindset that kept you safe. It can feel like tearing a piece of yourself off, but what if that piece was just a chapter and not the whole book? What if the version of you that's waiting on the other side of this decision is the you you've been dreaming about since you were a kid? The one who walks into rooms with ease, the one who wakes up excited, the one who isn't constantly negotiating their worth in small interactions, the one who doesn't feel stuck because they finally let go. That version, they're not fantasy, they're possible. And they're closer than you think, but you won't meet them if you keep shrinking yourself to fit into a life that stopped feeling like yours a long time ago. So maybe this isn't about fixing anything. Maybe it's just about choosing differently, choosing to move, to release, to believe that the universe wouldn't be stirring all this up inside you unless it was preparing you for something more. You're standing in that strange in-between space again, not quite where you used to be, but not fully where you're going either. It's like a fog, not thick enough to blind you, but just hazy enough that you're not 100% sure what's ahead. Still, you feel it, that tug, that low, quiet pull towards something different. You can't fully explain it. You wouldn't even know how to put it into words if someone asked, what exactly do you want right now? Because you don't know all the details. But something in your body knows. It's not panic. It's not that anxious urge to just run. It's softer than that. It's a whisper, a nudge, a strange, beautiful curiosity that's growing louder by the day. You're beginning to wonder what would happen if I just trusted it. If I leaned into this quiet knowing that maybe there's something out there that fits me better than what I've settled into. I had a moment like that the other day. I was sitting at this small coffee spot I usually go to when I want to feel grounded. Same drink, same corner table, same playlist, humming in the background. But for some reason that day, it just didn't land the way it used to. I caught myself staring out the window longer than usual, imagining what it'd feel like to be somewhere completely new, not out of desperation, but out of possibility. And that's what this part of your life feels like now. Not a breakdown, not chaos, but a gentle opening. A little sliver of light peeking through a life that used to feel shut tight. You're thinking about what's next, but it's not frantic. You're just starting to get curious. What if I moved? Not just to a new apartment or across town, but to a different world entirely. What if I changed careers? What if I stopped watering dead plants and opened myself up to a relationship that actually sees me? What if I let myself be fully, unapologetically new? And no, it's not that you hate where you are. It's not about running from something bad. It's about walking towards something better, that whisper in your chest. It's not a distraction. It's your soul remembering itself. It's that little part of you that never fully bought into the idea that just this, was all life had for you. You're stepping into a new kind of energy now, one where healing and clarity live side by side. Like you're not rushing anymore. You're not trying to fix yourself to be ready. You're just beginning to accept that maybe you're already ready. You don't need all the answers to move forward. You just need to stop lying to yourself about what you want. And let's be real, you've been doing that for a while, haven't you? Telling yourself, it's fine. It's not that bad. I should just be grateful. Convincing yourself that maybe what you've got is enough. But that whisper keeps coming back. And here's the truth that nobody tells you. You can love your life and still want more. You can be healing and still be curious. You can be grateful for what you've built and still be pulled towards something unknown. That doesn't make you ungrateful. That makes you alive. The energy you're moving into now is sacred because it's not about chasing. It's about receiving. You're allowing yourself to listen, to slow down, to rest, to pay attention to the messages that used to be drowned out by busyness and noise. You're realizing that healing isn't always this dramatic, tear-filled process. Sometimes it looks like making quieter choices, leaving the group chat, unfollowing the accounts that trigger you, saying no without explaining yourself, spending time alone and not feeling lonely. You're healing in a way that protects your peace instead of proving your worth. And even though everything isn't figured out yet, even though the future still feels foggy, you're starting to trust that the path will clear with every small, honest step you take. This next season isn't about forcing anything. It's about becoming willing. Willing to change, willing to move, willing to leave the door open for something wildly better than what you thought you deserved just a few months ago. So let the whisper get louder. Let the curiosity expand. Let yourself daydream without shutting it down. Because the life you're imagining, it's not just fantasy. It's a glimpse of what's trying to meet you. Once you make enough room for it, you're not running from change anymore. That old panic, the spiraling thoughts, the urge to fix everything all at once, it's just not there like it used to be. And it's not because life is suddenly perfect, it's because you've changed. You finally reached that inner place of, okay, I accept it. I'm here now, and I trust myself to move forward. There's something peaceful about it, almost surreal, like you're watching your own life unfold from a slight distance, not in a disconnected way, but with a kind of wise detachment. Like when you watch a movie and know the main character is about to go through something huge, but also know without a doubt they're going to make it. That's how you're starting to see yourself now. The main character, the one who's about to pivot, transform, rise, all of it. And this time you're not questioning whether you're capable. You know you are. Before, you'd get overwhelmed. You'd freeze in that place of, I don't even know where to start. You'd look at your life like a messy room, pulling one thread, only to find 5 more tangled behind it. But now you're not trying to fix everything at once. You're just focusing on what's yours to carry right now. That shift, that's growth. That's emotional maturity. That's your nervous system saying, we're safe, we've got this. And you can feel it, how much lighter you are than even just a few months ago. The emotional weight is starting to lift and you've released the need to rush. You're not looking for shortcuts, you're just walking step by step with quiet faith. And let's talk about that faith. Not in a religious sense necessarily, but that deep inner trust. The kind that says, even if I don't know exactly where this is going, I know I won't abandon myself this time. That's the energy you're stepping into. You're not in a season of chaos anymore. You're in a season of clarity. Clarity about who you are, clarity about what you want, clarity about what you'll never settle for again. And that clarity, it's making space for momentum. Real, steady, sustainable momentum. I keep getting this message. It's strong. August is your month. Something about it feels aligned. You're going to start doing the things you've been thinking about for a while now. But it won't feel forced. It won't feel like you're dragging yourself through mud just to be productive. It's going to flow. It's going to feel like, I'm ready, let's do this. You've already laid the groundwork. You've been healing. You've been decluttering your mind, your space, your heart. You've been building a solid foundation without even realizing how strong it's become. And now that the roots are deep enough, the growth is about to show on the surface. You'll wake up in August and just start. Send the email, book the flight, make the call, start the project, end what needs to be ended. Say yes to what you've been scared to want. But here's the key difference. This time, you're not doing it from fear or lack. You're doing it from alignment. You're moving because you're ready, not because you're desperate. Discipline won't feel heavy in this season. It'll feel natural, like brushing your teeth, like watering a plant you actually care about. Like you won't have to hype yourself up or force yourself through resistance every time because you've made peace with the why. You're no longer asking, can I do this? You're saying, of course I can, and I will. And it's not ego, it's self-assurance. It's the quiet confidence that comes after nights of crying on your bathroom floor, after deep conversations with yourself in the dark, after learning how to sit with discomfort without running. This version of you, they're different. They move differently. They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't shrink. They rise. They listen. They follow through. So when August starts to bring you opportunities, because it will, don't second guess yourself. Don't fall into that old habit of overthinking or waiting for a perfect sign. You are the sign. The fact that you've made it this far, that you're still healing, still curious, still reaching for more, that's proof that you're ready. Let August be your permission slip to try, to trust, to take yourself seriously, to finally do the things you told yourself you'd get to someday. Because someday is showing up at your door right now. And you're exactly who you need to be to answer it. Like you're not stuck anymore. Not in that cycle of overthinking, waiting for the perfect time, or giving yourself 10 different excuses to stay still. You've stepped out of that. Quietly maybe, but fully. You're not in a season of procrastination anymore. Before, you may have had reasons, real ones. You were tired, confused, maybe even a little broken. You were convincing yourself that later was safer than now. That staying comfortable, even in discomfort, was easier than risking the unknown. But something's shifted. Now you can't ignore that whisper in your chest. You can't pretend you don't feel the tug towards something bigger. And more importantly, you're not trying to silence it anymore. You're letting it speak. You're giving yourself permission to imagine again. Not in a light surface level kind of way, but really imagine a whole new life, a different rhythm, a version of you that doesn't flinch when they're asked, what do you really want? You're finally dreaming in full color again. It's not even about proving anything to anyone. It's not about revenge or making up for lost time. It's just about truth, yours. What your heart has been trying to tell you for years, but you were too distracted, too hurt, too busy trying to survive to hear it clearly. And now, you hear it, you feel it. You're starting to picture what life would be like if you stopped running. If you stopped dimming your own light to make others comfortable. If you let go of the narrative that told you dreaming big was unrealistic or selfish. What if What if you actually said yes to the kind of love that sees you? What if you built a life that felt like home on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside? What if you woke up every day and thought, this is it. This is the life I chose with intention. You're letting yourself ask these questions now. And not just ask them, but believe the answers are possible. It's like your inner child is stretching awake after a long, quiet nap, blinking into the sunlight, looking around at all the possibilities like, wait, we can really do this? Yes, you can really do this. That childlike energy, the wonder, the curiosity, the wild imagination, it's coming back. You lost it for a while. Life hardened you. You had to grow up too fast in certain ways. You had to put your dreams in a drawer and focus on surviving. But now you're reclaiming that softness. You're letting yourself daydream again without immediately shutting it down with logic or fear. You're saying, what if it actually works out instead of what if I fail? That's powerful. That's transformation. That's a full circle moment. Because honestly, you didn't come this far just to pay bills and play it safe. You didn't go through heartbreak, loss, reinvention, and healing just to end up settling for almost. You're being pulled toward your fullest expression now, toward alignment, toward your truth, your potential, your joy, not the watered down version you once convinced yourself was enough. And maybe it's scary to admit how big your dreams actually are. Maybe it feels risky to want something more when people around you are content playing small. But the difference now is you're not asking for permission anymore. You're not shrinking yourself just to fit back into rooms that never felt right. You're building your own room, your own vision, your own way. And the most beautiful part, you're not even trying to control how it all happens. You're not obsessing over every step. You're just allowing the dream to live, breathe, and take shape, finally. So keep imagining, keep daydreaming like you did when you were young, before anyone told you you couldn't. Because that energy, that childlike wonder you're tapping back into, that's not naive. That's your truth waking up. And this time, you're going to follow it. You used to shut it down. The ideas, the daydreams, the quiet little sparks of what if that would light up in your mind. You'd feel them for a moment, those flashes of possibility, but then logic would kick in. You'd tell yourself, come on, be realistic. You'd laugh it off, shake your head, and talk yourself out of it like you always did. You'd say things like, that's not practical. That's not what people like me get to do. Maybe later, maybe someday. And then you'd go right back into your mental loops. Overthinking, explaining your feelings to yourself until they didn't feel real anymore. Bouncing around in your own head, trying to make sense of desires that couldn't be rationalized. It was all very safe, very logical, very adult. But it also left you feeling like a passenger in your own life. Because deep down, you weren't living. You were managing, functioning, checking boxes, getting through the day, and wondering why nothing ever felt like it really fit. You were doing what you were supposed to do. What made sense? What was expected? But now that same structure that once felt secure feels like a cage. Something inside you is shifting. It's subtle but strong. It's not loud like a breakdown. It's quiet like a breakthrough. You're starting to feel it in your body, this resistance to going through the motions. You're starting to look at your routines, your habits, your environment and think, why does all of this feel so disconnected from who I really am? You're no longer content with living on autopilot. You're not interested in just surviving anymore. You want to feel your life. You want to lead with your heart this time, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't make perfect sense, even if you don't have a plan drawn out in bullet points. This next chapter, it's not about perfection. It's not about performance. It's about presence, and that's uncomfortable for someone like you. Someone who spent years intellectualizing everything, keeping it all in check, letting your mind run the show. But your heart, it's waking up. And it's loud in a soft way. It's asking for more freedom, more expression, more truth. And not the kind of truth that fits neatly on a resume or into a 5-year plan. The messy, human, wild kind of truth. The truth that says, I want to be free to feel alive in my own skin. You're starting to reclaim that. Reclaiming your right to desire, to choose joy, to pursue what doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. This is your sovereign energy rising, the you that belongs to you. Not to anyone's expectations, not to a timeline, not to tradition, not even to the identity you built just to survive. You're finally looking at your life and saying, I can't keep living for other people. I can't keep shaping my world to fit what someone else thinks I should want. It's like something deep in your soul has stood up and said, no more. No more settling for half joys. No more making yourself small so others can feel big. No more ignoring your gut because someone else might not understand. You're realizing that you get to be the author now. That you were always the author, you just forgot. Or maybe you were told not to trust your own pen. But this time, you're writing differently. You're letting intuition hold the pen. You're letting your heart speak. And you're letting your soul speak. And you're letting your heart speak. And you're letting your soul 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 speak. And you're letting You're letting imagination sit in the front seat. And it feels weird, doesn't it? To choose freedom when you were trained to choose safety, to chase play when you were praised for discipline, to trust your desires when you were taught to fear them. But this discomfort is good. It's a sign that you're stepping into something real. You're not rebelling, you're remembering. You're remembering what it feels like to be fully alive, to belong to yourself again. And no, not everyone will understand it. Some people will try to pull you back into the version of you they were more comfortable with, the agreeable one, the predictable one. But you're not going back, not this time. Because this freedom you're stepping into, it's not reckless, it's earned. You fought for this, you bled for this, and now you're claiming it. This is your life, and for the first time in a long time, you're finally ready to live it as you. You're waking up, really waking up, to something that used to feel so far away. The idea that you can actually be happy. Not just fine, not just functioning, not just getting by. Happy. Deeply, fully, authentically. And it's not even about some huge external change yet. It's internal. You're starting to ask yourself questions you never dared to take seriously before. What's actually holding me back? Why do I keep telling myself I have to wait? Who told me I wasn't allowed to go after the life I really want? You're seeing the cage now. The one that was built out of fear, expectations, old programming, and survival. But the bars, they've been loosened. Some of them are already gone. You're freer than you've ever been, even if your outside world hasn't caught up to the truth just yet. And that's okay, because freedom doesn't always start with your surroundings. Sometimes it starts with permission, the kind you give yourself to feel, to dream, to say no, to say yes, to be. And lately, you've been giving yourself that permission more and more. Not loudly, not dramatically, but in quiet, powerful ways. You've probably found yourself pulling inward lately, maybe even feeling like you're in a kind of hermit phase, spending more time alone, reflecting, questioning everything. It's not isolation, it's integration. Your soul is piecing things together in the dark, rewiring what you believe you deserve. And you're not panicking about it like you might have before. You're not rushing to fix yourself. You're not desperate for answers. You're trusting that this in-between moment, it has a purpose, that something deep is shifting beneath the surface, even if it's not visible yet. It's like floating on your back in still water, nothing to do but breathe, to feel the gentle pull of the waves, to let go of the idea that you have to swim so hard just to stay afloat. You're being carried now. And for once, you're letting it happen. The truths you're uncovering in this phase, they're not subtle anymore. They're rising up, louder, clearer, bolder, and you can't pretend you don't hear them. You can't keep ignoring what you really want. The version of you that used to settle, they don't run the show anymore. You're beginning to align your actions with your awakenings. And that's the real transformation. This month, this sacred window of time, you're being invited to move. But not in a chaotic, pressured way, in a restful, responsive way. Do the thing that's been nudging at you, even if it feels impulsive, even if it's just a small step. Book the class, start the side project, go somewhere new, say how you feel, write it down, release what's heavy. This month isn't about controlling every detail. It's about doing softly, with presence, with curiosity, with a heart open to receive. But you don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be honest with yourself and willing to plant some seeds. Take care of yourself while you do it. Make rest a ritual, nourish your body, honor your emotions, speak kindly to yourself, especially on the days when doubt tries to creep in. Because here's what you might not realize yet. You are building something right now, even in the stillness, even in the not knowing. Every moment you choose truth over fear, every time you follow that tiny tug of intuition, every time you say no more to the version of life that once kept you small, you're creating your future, and the roots you're planting in this season, they will bloom into joy, into prosperity, into alignment, into moments that feel like home. But you have to stay with it. Stay in trust, stay in motion, even when it's subtle. Stay in your body, stay in your heart, because this is your life now. And it's becoming more yours every single day. So breathe, be gentle, and keep going. You've got this. Even if you don't see the full picture yet, you're walking straight into something real. And the life you're stepping into, it's not a fantasy. It's the one you were always meant to create.